Hi guys, I'm Marvin. I'm a full-time app developer and I wanted to talk a little bit about vibe coding because during the last 2 years that honestly changed my whole workflow, how I work, what kind of products I build, and I wanted to take you with me on a small journey of where I come from, what I'm going to do at the moment, what tools I use, what I think might be some limitations of the vibe coding. So let's dive into it. I just wanted to start with a tweet from Andrew Capassi, which is sometimes referred to as a definition of vibe coding, and I think he really nailed it with some parts. So I just want to read it out and share with you my thoughts on that. There's a new kind of coding I call vibe coding, where you fully give into the vibes, embrace exponentials, and forget that the code even exists. It's possible because the LLMs are getting too good. Also, I just talked to Composer with Super Whisper, so I barely even touched the keyboard. I asked for the dumbest things like decrease the padding on the sidebar by half because I'm too lazy to find it. I accept all, always. I don't read the diffs anymore. When I get error messages, I just copy paste them with no comments. Usually that fixes it. The code grows beyond my usual comprehension. I would have to really read through it for a while. Sometimes the LLMs can't fix a bug, so I just work around it or ask for random changes until it goes away. It's not too bad for throwaway weekend projects, but still quite amusing. I'm building a project or web app, but it's not really coding. I just see stuff, say stuff, run stuff, and copy paste stuff, and it mostly works. And that's true. There's really a lot of projects I build mostly with vibe coding and they just work there in production. They are making money. This is really a thing. I even saw a lot of people selling apps for 5 or 6 figures, which are mainly vibe coded. This is crazy where we are heading to when I'm just comparing it to 4 years ago, where I just sat on my computer for 4 weeks straight building a simple app, trying to push it to the App Store, and now you're just doing it with a tool like Cursor in 30 minutes and throwing it out in 2 or 3 hours. It's crazy what kind of things those tools are capable of. And he also referred to some kind of debugging hell, which I totally see. So there's definitely a disadvantage of this because sometimes the easiest things didn't get fixed properly when you ask for it. As the tweet mentioned, you didn't have a really good understanding of the code base anymore when you completely rely on vibe coding. It's quite hard for you to nail down the issue. And sometimes I just struggled with different issues for hours. Sometimes the AI also can't fix it easily. So there's really a lot of back and forth trying to work around with that. But that's something which is most of the time doable and you can work around it, as Andrew said. So that's it. And I wanted to dive into my journey, where I come from, what I built with vibe coding, and later on show you my current workflow. I think this is going to be my most favorite part of the video because I'm taking you with me on a small time travel, going back in time, seeing what I did back in the days. I studied computer science for 5 years, did the bachelor and the master degree. I had a gap in between where I worked part-time as a full-stack web developer in a telecommunication company and studied biology. And during my bachelor and my master degree, I was a really passionate programmer. I really enjoyed to code. I spent countless nights working on different projects, working for clients, realizing a lot of different games I built and also apps I made. That's what I've done so far. So I don't want to talk about all those in depth because this would take forever. But I started with some kind of 3D Minesweeper, which was quite cool. I remember we had a family vacation, had a train ride, and I had a notebook with me. So I just spent like 1 or 2 hours of thoughts on how this mechanics could work in a 3D space, what algorithms I should use, how to handle all those 3D vectors. And there was really some effort for me to realize it. It was also super fun project. I have some more games released, which were mainly flopped. This one was a mandala generator, where I think things were getting a little bit better, and I made my first $50 monthly recurring revenue. This one is my most successful app. It's a music visualizer. I'm developing this for around 5 years now, and Nowadays, I'm mixing a little bit of vibe coding into it from time to time, but all those kind of things were made in Unity, and it's harder in Unity to vibe code. So I sometimes code by hand for this music visualizer when I do updates, which is really rare because after doing this music visualizer and doing this fractal renderer over here and the meditation app and the slime simulator and the particle simulation, after that I switched to Swift UI and also heavily utilized AI to help me with coding. And I think that was 2 years ago, where I just started with copy pasting full classes of code into ChatGPT and asking it to refine on it and add features. And then Cursor came out, which really, really amazed me because the huge advantage over ChatGPT is that it has context, right? So ChatGPT, if you insert a text file, it knows this text file, but if you have Cursor and it has access to your whole project, it knows exactly what files are laying around, and it has a good understanding of what's going on and where to adjust things. And I just heavily went with AI coding. A lot of projects flopped, some working kind of, some really making some money. Not a fortune, but enough for me to pay my rent and make a living out of it. This is a binary beats app. This one works quite okay. It's another music visualizer, and I wanted to highlight that it's probably because I have a lot of knowledge in the field of music visualization. This is vibe coded, but I used some of the code which I used before inside of Rhythm, which I coded by hand. And I got a lot of user feedback, spent a lot of thoughts on music visualizers, and even though this is vibe coded, I think I got a good understanding of what a music visualizer may look like. So that could have led to the success of this app. This was an app I developed with one of my friends from the Netherlands, also vibe coded, started with ChatGPT and switched to Cursor for adding more features into it. This is a small app with glitch effects, which I purchased some years ago and just created an app out of it. It was a complete flop. This one is also completely vibe coded with Cursor, and it's a Flutter application mainly for people in Germany on reading. So it helps people who can't read that good and help them getting better reading skills. This is decaf, flopped QR generator. This one I purchased. And I'm mainly focused on more music visualizers. So this one is a VJ software, which I also completely vibe coded. It's pretty nice. It's playing different videos. You can mix them together. I purchased some video loops for it, and I had a lot of fun putting all of that together. This is a MIDI controller. I just have done a little bit of research in the App Store and stumbled across MIDI controllers, and I thought, hey, it would be a super cool project to vibe code having a MIDI controller. And that really started to take off during the last months. Like, don't get me wrong, I don't make a fortune out of it, but some hundreds of dollars are coming in every month. So I call that a success for myself and wanted to definitely improve on it. Flop, both vibe coded. This one was a project which I recently released, and the idea was 2 years old, or even older. It was the idea of having a visual synthesizer where you have different, it's also kind of a music visualizer where you have different kind of layers which you can stack on top of each other. And my main goal was to be very flexible in the way you can stack layers on top of each other and chaining effects together. So I had a lot of fun throwing in what I got in my library, purchasing some new visuals and effects for it, and wiring it all up together. I would not have been able to realize this project in a reasonable time if I didn't vibe coded it. So there are so many things going on, and if I think about it and I think about how long it would have taken me to realize that project without the help of AI, it would probably have taken like 5 to 10 times longer, and it would have led to a lot of more frustration. So I'm really glad that the AI helped me here to realize a cool project. Then I started to make some utility apps just really recently. just out of curiosity how fast I can throw out things. Nothing of them is worth to mention. This one is my latest one, which I just built on top of my music visualizer I already have, and it's basically a podcast video maker. It's at the moment completely for free, and you can load in your audio, you can make some visuals for it, you have a waveform visualizer, and then you can render the whole thing as a video and upload it to your Instagram, to your socials, to YouTube. Yeah, that's my app portfolio, and that's what I was doing with vibe coding. And now I wanted to show you a little bit of my process of how I normally start projects and working on them. So the first thing is you wanted to come up with a good app idea. I just used ChatGPT to ask it for some ideas of really simple utility kind of apps. I came across something which was called a unit converter, and I think that could be a nice project just to give you an idea of what the workflow is. Don't get me wrong here. I think researching app ideas solely by ChatGPT with just asking it, oh, how can I make the next $1 million app? It didn't work. So you have to really put some thoughts into it. You have to go into the App Store, checking out what kind of keywords you could rank for, what kind of apps are already there. Could you do something better than your competitors? And many more things to consider here, beside of just being lucky and executing well and doing a lot of marketing. So this is just for demonstration purposes. I would not expect that this unit converter leads to anything because it's super simple. There are a ton of them out there and everybody could make it in some minutes. But just want to show you how I would start when I would have that idea of a unit converter. So I'm just going here, asking what kind of features do you expect for an MVP. It just gives me a lot of things like you type in something with the unit inside of it, and then you wanted to get the converted unit. It's also specifying things which are not in the MVP. No history, no favorites. It makes it all a little bit simpler. No localizations, cloud sync disabled. All right, after this, I just said I want to create this app in Cursor, give me a Cursor prompt for this MVP, specifying what things it should be capable of without going into detail regarding data models or code architecture. I saw sometimes when you let ChatGPT come up with fancy code architectures or data models which it defines, Cursor have problems to implement them properly. And so my approach for simpler projects is to just give the Cursor model the decision on what kind of data models and what kind of architecture it wanted to use. This was what ChatGPT gives me. I just copy that, and we are going to start with a clean Xcode project. Very simple, setting up a new iOS app unit converter. And we also wanted to open that project in Cursor. And I will just go straight into the chat window using Claude Sonnet. Made a lot of good experiences with it, even though it's a little bit more pricey than, for example, the auto mode. Opus is even better, but it can get really expensive, like $2 to $5 per prompt if it's a huge prompt with a lot of context given. And Sonnet probably works quite well. So I'm just copy pasting this prompt over here and let the magic begin. Really excited to see if it can make it in the first run. A lot of times you're seeing some errors, and as I quoted this thing from Andrew, you sometimes just going into the error messages, copying them all together, pasting them into the AI and say, oh, please fix it, or just throwing the error messages at it. So that most of the time works quite well. But let's see, I would expect for something like that simple, it comes up with code which just compiles without any problems. Cool, it even added haptic feedback. Let's say we wanted to iterate a little bit more on the product, so I can go back to ChatGPT saying, let's see what kind of ideas it got for new features. Conversion history, we could add this. Swipe to flip target unit. Multiple smart results. Why not? Clipboard auto detect on launch. You need to handle with the permissions there. Probably not a lot of fun. Unit lock, haptic and motion polish, favorites. I don't know. I think multiple smart results could be cool. And the history is also something which is useful for a lot of people, I think. So just pasting it in here. Let's try this for the new features we requested. We can open a new chat. Sometimes you have to really think about, do you want to have the context of this chat window, which is going to be more expensive than just starting a new chat, or do you just want to open a new chat starting with a fresh context and see if the model is capable of getting the idea of everything without the context of this chat? And I think because it's such a simple app, we can just open a new chat, pasting in the prompt over here. Meanwhile, I just wanted to see how it looks like at the moment. So this is the app. It compiles, no errors, pretty cool. And see what it gives us. 12 kilometers. Cool. 5 feet. That's funny because it's Fahrenheit. So this is converting to Celsius. I think it really got the idea of that simple unit converter. Cool. So we're going over here and asking it for add some more features. This project is simple. We only have one file, the content view at the moment. If you are coming up with more files, which you definitely will do if you are programming a real app, you can also head over to a new chat window and using this add over here to add files, folders, documents with your requirements inside of it or with a description of the app. And so you give the model some kind of context which it is aware of while working on this prompt. This could be very good for just pointing the model into a certain direction. Please work on this file, look at this view. I want to add this functionality, just check out this and this and this file. You probably wanted to adjust things here. Yeah, I think you got the point of it. So this is something I quite often use. And let's see if we got the new features implemented already. I think that's one of the differences between programming back in the days and vibe coding right now, because you have certain kind of void which you need to fill with something. And to be honest, I'm not too good at filling this void of waiting for a new prompt to be finished. Sometimes I'm watching YouTube videos because I also try to prepare new prompts, trying to think what should I do next. But most of the times, because you need to go through these code changes when you really do a production based app, you really wanted to see what it changed, you wanted to test everything, you wanted to say, please do it better, this is not working correctly. And if you are waiting for the prompt to finish, switching context to another problem, and then switching back to this one, sometimes it gets really hard for me. So this is something which I didn't find an ideal solution for so far, filling the void, waiting for the prompts to be ready. But anyways, it's coming up with a lot of good solutions. So whatever you wanted to do in the meantime, you probably get exciting results. So we got those new features over here. We're just running the app once again in the simulator, seeing if it implemented the changes we wanted to get from it, which was the history as well as the smart conversions. Oh, here we have more. All right, what else could we do? 1 millimeter. It's not working. So we didn't have the history over here. What I'm missing is different units. So I just wanted to ask for millimeters and more things. Let's see. I'm really excited to see what kind of units it's adding. Oh, history saves when you copy a value. Alright, when you copy the value, you have it in your history. I totally see what it means. So that's probably changing right now. What else do we got here? Millimeter, yard, milligram, ton, tons. I think if you wanted to do that as a production-based app, you should definitely check out on which units it all has and add a lot of them here to the list. But this is just for demonstration purposes. We have some more units at least. We probably seeing the history feature changing, so it's saved instantly without the need to copy an item. And I think that's it for this very simple app. You could iterate on it, improve things, really go crazy on it, but that's beyond the scope of this little tutorial video. I just wanted to show you how I normally work with it. I'm just a little bit concerned when we have this feature request that it saves a lot of items to the history. Let's say I'm typing and I just did not finish writing. It saves the history and then I'm typing in once more and it's saving the history once more. So let's see. All right, that's cool. Yeah, but that's the downside of it. If I'm typing meter and then millimeter, it's just adding all those kind of things to the history, but I think that's okay. So you just see which values you have converted. That's it for this video. I just wanted to give you some last words on what I think works with vibe coding. So I utilized it for many different apps, for a reading app for children, for different music visualizers, for a MIDI controller, and for many small projects. And for most of them, it works quite well. But I also want to give you some warnings about security features, which I would definitely not recommend to solely rely on AI code. So let's say you do something with a database, you do something with authentication, transmitting sensitive data like passwords or personal texts. You have a banking app, you are handling with real money, then I would definitely not go with vibe coding, or at least heavily review the code line by line, because that's something which could easily go wrong. And for small utility apps and even for small consumer apps, which you just throw into the App Store and which are only working on device without having communication and sensitive data going back and forth through the internet, I think vibe coding is something which really speeds up your development process, but you need to be careful on what exactly you are doing with it. I hope that this video helped some of you guys and gave you a little bit of insight of what I'm doing with it, how I'm working with Cursor and ChatGPT, and how to utilize all those tools. I'm also really excited to hear about your experiences, what you do, how your workflow is, and what are your experiences with it. So just let me know, share it down below in the comments, and would love to have a discussion about it here.